So Senator Blackburn, and then a 5-minute break.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Garland, thank you for being with us today. I have to tell you that it is with much disappointment that I have watched the DOJ be so politicized, and the way things have been carried out. When you look at the memo to parents, you've heard a lot about that today, and it's because we're hearing a lot about that. And I just have to ask you, knowing that you really helped bring to justice those that caused the Oklahoma City bombing, would you really honestly put parents in the same category as a Terry Nichols or a Timothy McVeigh?
My God, absolutely not.
Then why would you ever release a memo? I mean, did you write that memo? Did staff write that memo? What would have led you to do this? It is so over the top.
Senator, there's nothing in the memo that in any way draws any comparison, anything like that. This memo is about violence and threats of violence. It's not
Sir, I have to tell you that that may be your opinion. And you know, many times perception is reality. And reading that memo myself, Tennesseans reading that memo, what they found in that memo, what they heard you say was, if you show up and you question these school boards, you will be deemed a domestic terrorist. You could be investigated by the FBI. I mean, the FBI has a lot of other things that they should be focusing on. And the FBI should be there looking at issues like China. Now, the Knoxville FBI has been very concerned about China. So give me a little update. What's the status of the China initiative at DOJ?
So, Senator, we regard People's Republic of China as an extraordinarily serious and aggressive threat to our intellectual property, to our universities.
Okay, you're stonewalling me on that. We all know they're an aggressive threat.
We continue to investigate the PRC efforts to...
Do you see them as an adversary?
I see them as adversarial with respect to our ransomware, with respect to hacking with respect to counterintelligence, with respect to counter-espionage,
well, we
in all
know
those
that
ways.
Over the last several months, the last 9 months, several espionage prosecutions of researchers have been dropped or charges have been dismissed, including those of a UT professor at UT Knoxville. And of course, the Huawei case is there. So this is in spite of the fact that Director Wray recently testified that the FBI opens a new Chinese espionage investigation every 12 hours. So are there apparent failures of the initiative? Is it a lack of leadership, or is it a compromise position with the administration? Is it incompetence?
Every case is evaluated on its own with respect to the law and the facts. We continue to open cases involving the People's Republic of China daily, as the director said. We will not in any way let up our concerns about Chinese.
All right, I want to move on. I'm glad to know you're not going to go soft on China, because this administration is going soft on China. On your directive, going back to the School Board Association and the directive that you sent out, the NSBA has apologized. Are you planning to apologize to the parents of this country? Moms and dads?
There is nothing in this memorandum that any parent should be concerned about.
There's a lot that parents should be concerned about it. Let me ask you about the Durham investigation, because 44 senators joined me in a letter that we sent to you in August, and we still have not received a written response from you on the status of the Durham investigation. So will you provide for me a written status report of the Durham investigation?
So the particular aim, I think, of the letter asked about the budget. And as I said at the House committee, Mr. Durham is continuing. And the only
We
way
asked
he
for a
could
status update.
well,
And we also ask that the report be made public, available to the public on the completion of his work. Will that be made public?
so on both of those questions, his budget has been approved, as I
Okay.
already announced. And with respect to the report, I would like as much as possible to be made public. I have to be concerned about Privacy Act concerns and classification. But other than that, the commitment is to provide a public report, yes.
Can you guarantee this committee that Special Counsel Durham has free rein to proceed wherever his investigation takes him without any political or otherwise undue influence or interference?
There'll be no political or otherwise undue interference.
Okay,
with
Susan
Durham's
Hennessy.
investigation.
Susan Hennessy was recently hired to work in your National Security Division. This is a troubling hire because of her political bias. She has made several comments that show she is incapable of working impartially on sensitive matters within the National Security Division, particularly on the Durham investigation. For example, December 1st, 2020, Ms. Hennessy stated, and I am quoting, "Durham has made abundantly clear that in a year and a half, he hasn't come up with anything. I guess this kind of partisan silliness has become characteristic of Barr's legacy, but unclear to me why Durham would want to go along with it," end quote. So how can the American people be certain that she is going to be fair and impartial when she is on the record making those statements? So has she retracted that statement? Do you intend to ask her to retract that statement?
I have to confess, I don't think I've even ever met Ms. Hennessy, and she has nothing whatsoever to do with
Well,
the
you may
Durham
want to look at
investigation.
her. She is there in your National Security Division, and she is very much opposed to this. I want to thank you for your time. I am going to send a couple of questions to you for more complete answers, but I associate myself with the comments by my colleagues that the border issues have turned every town into a border town and every state into a border state. The amount of drugs, the amount of trafficking that is flowing in here, talking to local law enforcement, the way they're looking at the cartels. Mr. Attorney General, there is a lot that needs to be done to secure this country, and the parents of the kiddos in our school, they are not the problem. There are other problems that need your attention.
Thank you, Senator Blackburn. The committee will stand in recess for 5 minutes.